Welcome to Not the 9 to 5,
the podcast for freelancers
by freelancers.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out,
join us as we share insights, tips and stories
to help you thrive in the world of independent work.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Francesca.
We are two freelancers exploring the highs, lows
and everything in between. So grab your coffee, kick back,
and let's dive into another episode of Not the 9 to 5.
Katheryn Siggers.
Francesca Marago.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, I'm very well. How's yourself?
I'm good.
Tell us, who have we got today? Why are we so excited?
Well, we've got Kyle Prinsloo here today. He's a podcaster, web designer, agency owner, content creator, and SaaS founder, or SaaS founder. So let's dive into that. Welcome, Kyle. Thanks for joining us. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do, your background.
So about me, I am a husband, a father, got almost a 1-year-old daughter. That's been wild. And I think I've got a new appreciation of work now, because you realize time is such a crucial and valuable asset, right? So it's like I'm trying to also work smart, and that's shifted how I run the business as well. So on the business side, it's servicing agency clients, it's creating, YouTube podcasts, it's doing 2 software businesses now, trying to make sure that that's gonna, be profitable and grow quite a bit. So time is really important. And then I work with a small team, generally between 10 to 15 people on a given month. And yeah, that is sort of me in a nutshell, personal and then business.
Cool.
Wonderful.
And what's the SaaS section of your bio here? What does that mean?
Oh yeah, so that's the software side, right? And I've got one software business. It's called clientmanager.io, and that's for client onboarding and management tools. So for like if you're a freelancer, agency, team, solo person, that's a really cool, simple platform and software to use. And then I've got another one which just launched recently. It's I said recently, but that's okay.
That's a great word. We love that.
And it's called softwaresubscriptions.com. And that is a software to manage all of your software. Like you forget renewals, you've got annual, you've got monthly pricing, you've got maybe license keys that you want to manage and everything. So that's sort of all of that, those 2 softwares in one.
Right, got you. And you said you're working smarter, not harder now. Can you tell us how you do that? Because I'm sure there's lots of people out there who would actually love to know how to do that in such a crazy world of freelancing.
Yeah, so I must premise it and be transparent here. I'm working smart, but I'm also working hard. So a couple of years ago, I was really living like, I would say, the laptop, 1 hour a day type lifestyle, because I outsourced a lot of the business and everything, and it was crazy. However, it sounds a bit weird, but I almost got a bit bored after a couple of months, and then I sort of had like a reflection point where I was like, is this the life that I want to live? And the answer was no, because I wanted to create a bit more impact and try other different business things and everything. And I didn't want to be also selling courses to provide 30 or 40% of my income as well. I didn't want to be that guy. So I wanted to also rely on the business side of things to actually show like, hey, I'm sharing what I know, but I'm also doing what I know at the same time. And now I think it's very much a thing of trial and error. Working with people. I've been working with people for a lot of years. We've got a good loyalty going, good trust system going, and yeah, I've learned a lot. Made some mistakes, lost a lot of money along the way, and yeah, I don't know if you want to delve into that, but that's pretty much what I do.
Oh wow! Well, tell us about these sort of mistakes that you went through. You mentioned that there was difficulties. Tell us a little bit about that.
Ooh, okay. So I think the main thing is, if I can summarize it, is sometimes when you hire people, and it's like meeting friends, right? Or it's like meeting people, the first meeting can go well and you're like, wow, this person's the best person ever, and all of those types of things. And then as you sort of progress, it's like, it didn't turn out like sort of what you thought, and it's the same with business, when you work with people. I think at the beginning I was too trusting, and then I was a bit too like, nah, you do your thing and everything. But I realized expectations is so important, and this applies when dealing with clients. This applies when dealing with contractors or employees or anything. You have to show like, hey, here's what I expect from you. Here's what you can expect from me. Let's be transparent about it. And that alone is a big thing. Then when it comes to anything new, it's like the thing like, tell me what to do, and then show me what to do, and I think that, and then let me watch you do what I showed,
Yeah.
and then once they can do that, and you sort of micromanage the first week or two, then you can sort of step away a bit, So I think I've learned a lot and improved in my character as well, and how I do it, as well.
I think we have this a lot on our podcast, don't we, where we want transparency with the people that we speak to and the clients that we engage with, because it's so easy to go, oh, I've got this really great client, that they seem really cool, and then you don't really discuss the bottom ground with them, or the foundation of moving forward, of how things should be, etc., etc. And then you find yourself in a bit of a pickle, a few times down the line, and then there's miscommunication and it becomes icky. So yeah, it's always good to have that initial conversation to lay out the foundation.
So this is take 2, everyone. We've got Kyle back with us. So Kyle, let's start where we left off. So when you were growing up, did you ever think you were going to be a freelancer?
No, I was interested in business, various different things. I thought I would be my own boss. So I guess in a way you could technically say it, because I mean, freelance is a business owner and they essentially work for themselves. So maybe in hindsight, yes. Yeah, I'll say yes to that.
Yeah. So you always wanted a business. What sort of business did you want?
Illegal and illegal. Mostly illegal. But
what's
but
the
yeah,
Tell us. We have to know now.
You can't leave us hanging.
Yeah, don't do that.
Shame. I was actually chatting to an old lady recently. Well, not recently, but one time, and she asked me what I do, and I said, like, I export certain powders from South America to North America, and it's like an international freight company. And shame, her eyes went like that, and I was like, no, I'm just joking.
Oh my God.
So,
I did actually. I was like, have we got a drug cartel?
Yeah, or a protein powder.
Can you imagine? Like, everyone, welcome to our podcast with Carl Prinsloo, drug cartel mafia.
I just find it so boring when someone asks me like, hey, what do you do? I'm like, oh, okay, I work for myself. I've got a marketing and a website business.
We're gonna have to change the whole interview.
Do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know where you want to take it from there, but I didn't really have anything in mind. Just sort of just working for myself. I think it became clearer as I was like a full-time employee what I really wanted to do, and then I really thought, like, how can I actually make money, like doing what I love, but also try and help others, And I think that sort of also led to this content creation stuff on top of the the freelancing side.
And sort of with your, like, the web designing, the business that you have, how does that work? How did you gain interest in that? Is that something that you always thought you would venture into?
Yeah, so I was doing marketing for a company. I was the manager for the marketing on different brands and everything, and I loved it. The problem was I wasn't earning enough, and my wife is a foreigner, so when she came here, we were struggling financially, like a lot, like literally, like we were staying in a small place, we were struggling, and it was a big struggle because we had some visa issues that she couldn't work, and it was a mess. So she actually suggested, she's like, hey, why don't you actually learn web design on Udemy? I was like, what is that? And anyway, so she planted the seed, and then I realized like, wow, that's actually a great idea, because the marketing side mixed with the web design together is a fantastic service, because you're offering a once-off service but plus ongoing service, so it can help the the recurring income. So that's sort of where the interest came in. It wasn't from me, it was actually from my wife.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's
There
cool
you
that
go.
she inspired you to do that.
What? So going back, what's the
Udemy? It's like an
Udemy.
online platform
Oh, okay.
where you can
I was
like.
going to ask Kyle, but
Sorry.
that's fine.
Kyle, you tell us. I got told off.
No, go ahead, carry on. That was perfect.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong,
Let's
but
go.
it's like an
Take
online
one.
it's like an online platform where you can pay to do different courses. So you can do them in
Okay.
like web design, or you can do them in like voiceover, for example,
Oh, cool.
or like in loads of different like fields.
Oh,
Really,
wicked.
that is. I am
Yeah.
right, aren't I, Kyle?
Yeah. So if you're familiar with Coursera, I don't know if you're familiar with Coursera,
Yeah, I know it.
but
Yeah.
these are all like online education platforms where you list online courses. But the nice thing about Udemy is it's literally around $10. I don't know how much it is now, but when I bought it, it was around $10 for so many different courses. So it was affordable and great quality. So yeah, that's what it is.
Cool.
Yeah,
Wicked.
it's a good platform,
I didn't know
definitely, for
that.
people to start
Good to know.
to get a skill that they don't already have,
Yeah.
or to improve on a skill, I suppose. So thinking about your whole freelance career then, Kyle, have there been any struggles along the way?
Oh, definitely. So I think the first year I almost gave up, because I was working a full-time job and it was really, really challenging. It also took a toll on our marriage, because I was like working at night on weekends, and it was really, it wasn't easy. It's very easy to look at it now and be like, oh, you're just looking at the top of the iceberg, everything's great and whatever. But there was a time when I like, screw this, I'm not going to do it. It's actually too difficult. And not only that, but also the outreach efforts, trying to grow the business. It's not, you're dealing with rejections all the time, and for me, back then I sucked at sales. I'm still not that good at it, but I've gotten much better at it, right? And back then I would like freeze on phone calls and put it down, and I was extremely nervous to try and pitch my services. So I think that also slowed my progress quite a bit. But I think the one change that sort of really gave me a different perspective was I realized the only way I can get out of this is if I have to, embrace that I don't know it and I'm going to fail, but I'm going to learn as I go. And it sounds a bit cheesy, but literally I had to learn as I go to improve. And the other factor was I could say, okay, fine, should I suck it up and stay at my job and then trying to get a 5 or 10% increase in salary every year? Even that wouldn't fix our situation, right? So it was like I had to make it work. Like I didn't have a choice. We didn't have like family we can rely on or anything else. We had to make it work. So yeah, I think it was like that forced discipline, accepting things as they are, just sucking it up, sticking it through. And I'm grateful to my old self for sticking it through, because I could have been one of those many thousands of freelancers who gave up when it was tough.
Yeah,
because it does get tough.
Yeah, it does.
It gets really tough, and when you get knocked back so many times, it can be really disheartening.
Yeah.
How did you kind of go then from full-time employee to full-time freelancer? What was the jump for you? How did you go about that?
So I mitigated risk quite a bit. I was already after a year, 15 months, I was actually already matching my full-time salary on the side. And then I had about, I think it was 3 or 6 months worth of savings. So I only wanted to leave when I knew I could actually make this work. Some people are very different. Some people, when they're earning their first $100 on the side, they're like, wow, I can make this full time, and then I quit my job. that's not my style. I think that's way too risky, and I'm very curious what. Oh, that's naughty.
I
Okay.
had no choice. Okay, I had no choice, right? I was made redundant. Okay, at the start of the pandemic, I was made redundant, and I just was like, I don't know how I'm going to get a job in this climate. Like, there are no jobs, no one's hiring. So that's when I decided to become a full-time freelancer with like no freelancing
Nice.
experience really. So that is why she looks at me, because I had a bit of savings, but like it wasn't sustainable. So yeah, that's why she gave me that look.
Great. Yeah, but I mean, that's another discussion which I'm sure you've had, where often these negative things, it's like a forced opportunity, where it's like you try looking for jobs and then it's like you can't get anything. So now what do? Do you just sit on your couch and just cry every day? No, you try and make something of it, and then and look at you now.
Yeah.
This is it. Get up and get on.
A swan.
A swan.
So when it came to sort of looking for clients and doing the outreach side of stuff, how did that work for you? Because obviously you said you were in full-time employment, and then there was that transition into working for yourself. How did you navigate that? What did you do to I guess
get those clients?
Yeah, get those clients. Thank you.
Yeah, so at the beginning stages, I'm talking about like 2015-ish, I went on Fiverr. I don't know if I'm just assuming. Okay, cool.
Fiverr.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And for those who don't know, it's just a platform to sell your services. And what I did was I sort of flipped it around, right? I said like, sheesh, I'm competing with like thousands of like people offering web design services. How can I sort of flip it around? And I thought, okay, let me sell a $5 conversion rate optimization report or website audit report. We'll be like, submit your website. I'll give you feedback and suggestions on how you can improve it. Okay, just like a 3-page PDF.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
And it actually worked really, really well, because it was like an easy sell. People would submit their website. I would, share. I'd be like, hey, if you want, me to redesign your website, which I had no idea how to do. I just use like PowerPoint as like a wireframe. It'll be $100, and they sign up. And I'll be like, okay, great. If you want me to make this sort of wireframe, which was ugly, a website, it'll be $1,000. And that worked incredibly well. So that $5 would actually eventually turn into $1,000. And then once they have the website, then I would sell them $1,000 marketing, retainer package, to help them. So it was, yeah. So that worked really, really well. And then once that sort of picked up steam, and then I just did the usual stuff: cold calls, cold emails, cold DMs on social media. I've tried like Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, like pretty much everything. Threw stuff up and then see what sticks. That's sort of my initial entry into getting clients.
Yeah. So you almost sold a service that you, I guess, didn't really know how to do, and then just learn on the job.
Yeah, exactly. I think I've got a lot of weaknesses, but I think that's one of my strengths, right? So I'll just sort of I think it's Richard Branson who says something like, if someone asks you, can you do it, just say yes and figure it out later. And I think that's very much sort of my approach to things, and if I can't do it, obviously I'll say I can't, but like really I can't, like let's say it was like a massive e-commerce project or something that I didn't know at the time, I would say so. But for the most part, you just 80-20, you just say yes, you wing it, figure it out, and it works out fine.
Yeah. And look at you now.
Yeah, and look at you now.
I know, literally. Make it up as you go along. What's then the best part of the job for you, Kyle?
Ooh, I think my wife and I, we often chat about it. Like even now after this call, I mean, what's the time now? It's like 1 p.m. ish, my side. We're gonna go for a nice walk, along the coast and just chat and chill and stuff. So where it's like, I couldn't do that at like a full-time job. Even with remote jobs as popular as they are now, there's a lot of like, so I would say micromanaging and all of those things going on, sort of tracking your minutes in a way. We don't have that. So I think the biggest thing is the freedom and the flexibility, that has been massive. And it's, I mean, we chat about it all the time. It almost feels like we've lived, even if it has to change for whatever reason, even if the business closes and for whatever reason, we've lived like an incredibly amazing life the last 5 years, almost like we were like semi-retired in that sense, in terms of our freedom and flexibility. And I think that you can't put a price on that. So that has been the main thing.
I was going to say, is your wife a freelancer, or is she a 9-to-5er? How does that work? Because I guess a lot of people in relationships, if one's 9-to-5 and one's a freelancer, they sometimes find it difficult to understand that world.
Yeah. So she worked. So she's from India, and she worked like full time and everything there. But then we had some issues. So eventually she worked in the business with me. And then she was doing like some websites and everything, and she learned on the side as well, also on Udemy. And that went really well. Once we had a child, she wanted to just take care of our child. So that's what she wants to do. I'm not forcing her to work. If she wants to, she can. If she doesn't, she doesn't have to. And that's basically what she's doing now.
Oh, cool! I love that.
Nice.
That's such a nice, that's a really not to say that people do that anymore, but like that's a really refreshing thing of you to go, well, if you want to work, you can, but I'm not forcing you. If you want to be at home with the baby or the child, like that's really lovely.
Yeah. She actually mentioned she wants to study a bit on to be like a baby sleep consultant, like because she's learning so much, about it now. And she said she would love 1 or 2 hours a day just to chat to other moms and do these types of things. So it's like, find out what you want to study and let's do it. So at least it's flexible in that sense.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And do you think that you've ever hit any bouts of doubt during your freelance career? Do you think you've ever lost that
enthusiasm?
Yeah, enthusiasm for what you want to do, what you want to achieve.
Yeah, that's a good question. On the surface, I would say no, but I think there have been doubts for sure, but I think what sort of, well, let me put it this way. When I have certain feelings or emotions, I don't act on it very quick. I sort of tend to reflect on it a bit more. And then I think like, okay, how would I be feeling if I was working a full-time job in a cubicle or in an office and all of those things? And then you sort of compare and you're like, okay, these little issues or doubts that I'm facing, that's nothing in the bigger scheme of things. Will be much worse if I was like, in an office and stuff. So it gives a different perspective. And then you realize like, just get over it, because there's a lot of other benefits. Nothing will be 100%. And then also generally when there are those things and the issues and those doubts, if it's stuff that you don't like, you can tend to either try and see where you can improve, right? Maybe it's, your SOPs, your outreach, your time, outsourcing, that type of thing,
What's an SOP?
So it's a standard operating procedure. It's just a fancy way of saying who does what, by, when, and how. So it's basically so think of it like a simple training document. When you're dealing with people, just to deal with expectations. I think that's the best way to say it.
Right, got you. Okay, well, we learned something new today.
Have you noticed the industry for you change a lot in this last few years since COVID? Have you had to adapt with the times?
Yeah, I think it's definitely changed quite a bit in the sense that I would say the recurring subscriptions have been picking up. I don't know what you both think of that. People charging $500 or $2,000 a month for unlimited services, for the month, and then I think that's picking up quite a bit, and I can see why. It's very beneficial for the client as well. In saying that, I've also noticed it's become more competitive, especially in the generalist sort of industry. So I think it is helpful to niche down, right? Maybe it's by like industry or by platform or something, because I do think that will help in the long term. As things get a bit more, saturated, and it's not going to slow down soon. If you look at the data, it's only going to increase. So it's like it's pros and cons, because I think those people that don't want to adapt and sort of see it as like, yeah, I don't think I think it's going to be a big challenge for them. But I think that those are like, who sort of see what's on the horizon and be like, yeah, I can see what's coming. I'm starting out as a generalist now, it's getting my feet wet, learning how to do things, and then I'm going to niche down, because I know that there's value to that and everything. So, I think that's sort of what I've noticed so far. What have you both noticed?
I would say here there's definitely more people coming to the freelance world, like especially since COVID. There's more and more and more of us kind of edging the 9-to-5ers in a way, which is great.
Yeah.
However, in our industries, we've noticed a bit of a reduction in opportunity at the moment, in acting specifically.
Yeah.
And me with the film and TV work that I do in location management, because of the strikes in America. There was the actor strike, the writer strikes, and that just directly impacted film industry here.
Yeah. And it's not really recovered.
It's not recovered yet. They're saying 2025 is the year. It's been like this for the last 1.5 years. So it's been really tough, I think, for us lot anyway, in the creative realm.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can't speak on behalf of freelancers, other freelance, work. What's the word?
Like more online based people.
Yeah, like graphic designers and stuff like that. We can't really speak for that, but definitely in the acting world, it's been very slow.
Yeah.
And I think with voice acting specifically, I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like there's way more voice actors now than there were before the pandemic.
And I think it's because of the pandemic.
Because of the pandemic. And everyone went out and bought a microphone and bought a sound booth or the equipment.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're having a technical issue.
Technical issues.
So I find that the market is oversaturated.
Yes.
At the moment, but not necessarily with great talent.
Yeah. But also, I've noticed there's so many voice castings recently that have come out from all different types of companies and jobs that are trying to pay you as little as possible for maximum outreach. So in terms of the broadcasting, they say, oh, this won't be broadcasted or only be broadcasted for a month, and then you have to give them the rights for that. But then it's not the case, and it's a bigger project. And as you go through it, you notice how much bigger. And you do have this thing where you toy with, oh, but I want more, more credits.
I want that client on my, on my portfolio and whatever. But equally, they're not. I find that clients at the moment are just not willing to pay.
They don't
want
the fees
for voiceovers.
So
I think that's the struggle. At the moment,
it is a struggle,
and I think it's because of people who aren't as experienced that have gone into the industry and have just accepted the rates and not queried it, and now it's become the norm. And it's like, I'm worth a lot more than this, And
like we have. I don't know if you guys have it, but we have unions here. Like we have Equity, which is like an actors union that also deals with voice artists. So they're supposed to protect us when things like this happens, when we get jobs in that aren't paying the correct rates and things. But I don't feel necessarily that it's a huge motion. It's not really.
It's not. The thing they're worried about the most is AI voices. Taking over the voice acting industry, which is a real threat. But I also don't think that AI voices will take over because you can't get the same emotion, in my personal opinion. So
it's an interesting one. I think I do echo that on what you mentioned about beginners coming in, especially after COVID. Definitely. And I think that the market is still trying to adapt to that. I think people are still adapting to that. I think what could help is building a brand, and then trying to showcase that value based on your previous expertise. That often does help. I'm sure, but I think it's one of those things where it's like, if you buy a sofa, right? People often look for deals, right? They look for like the cheapest sofa, maybe like you in the UK, so like maybe like £200 sofa, for example, right? And it'll be like a small little thing. Then they get it and they're like, oh wow, this is actually quite bad, so then they realize like, hey, I actually need to increase my budget to £350. And then you realize like, okay, the best ones are going to be like £600 or £700 or £800. And I think that is also going to happen eventually, because there's a lot of businesses who are like, they just want the cheapest deal. But I think eventually they're going to realize like the quality and the value they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
I think you're right there. I hope you're right.
Yeah. You just have to stand strong in your beliefs, don't you?
Yeah, and to your rates.
Yeah, your work is great quality and people should value that. And
they should pay for it.
And there we go. That's the dilemmas we face.
One last question. What's one piece of advice you would give to someone thinking about going into the freelance world?
Yeah, I think freelancing. So I actually made some content recently on the different ways to basically reach a certain amount of income within 12 months, right? And there are so many different business ideas that you can do. There's like software, there's e-commerce, there's drop shipping, there's affiliate marketing, and so on. But the best one I find is a freelance business. And the reason why is because I think the barrier to entry is very low. Yes, one can argue the competition side. That's a different topic, which we just discussed now. But in terms of starting, most of us have some form of skill set that we can sell. And I think that you've got nothing to lose, really. You've got more to gain, because especially if you're doing this part-time, like a thing on the side from your full-time job, it could potentially turn into a great hobby. It could potentially turn into a good side income, or even potentially replace your full-time income and even more. If you look at a lot of different businesses today, you'll be fascinated to see how many people start out as a freelancer. So it's just sort of a stepping stone into various different other things that people do. And I think that if one is sort of like in their own mind sticking to their job, that's fine, that's perfect. If that's what you want to do for the rest of your life, great, no problem. But what happens if there's more? What happens if you've got some more potential? What happens if there's something more enjoyment around the corner? At least you can try something. And I think it's one of those things where it's like, you will only know until you try it. I often tell my wife, I'm like, if things fail, at least we know things failed, that we did something about it and not just thinking about it or hoping what if or being hopeful and all of that. So and the freelancing side, I've got no regrets about it. Everyone that I talk to about it, they like, there's issues and challenges and whatever, but the flexibility and freedom and the benefits that come from it, it far overrides that. So I think just go for it, try it, and just give it an honest attempt for a year. If you like it, great. If you don't, no problem.
Yeah,
I think that's a great piece of advice.
Yeah, we always say this as well.
Yeah, we do, because there are tough times, but you have to, like you say, you have to think about the benefits that you're getting to.
Ride the wave.
That's it.
Thanks for that echo.
You're welcome.
I really like that. Before we end this chat, we normally do a little guess game of Would You Rather.
Would you rather live on a peaceful tropical island or a big bustling city?
Island.
Would you rather have to start a new job every year until you retire, or have only one job for your entire career?
One job.
Would you rather spend your money traveling the world but have few personal possessions, or have a really amazing house but never leave your hometown?
Travel.
Would you rather have to wear all black every day for the rest of your life, or have to mix every colour of the rainbow into your outfit every day?
I'm going to go with the black option, thank you.
No! I'm going to have to count these.
Are you joking?
Count these, because everyone agrees with me.
Unreal.
Thank you.
The amount of people
Thank
you said that. No, I'm just cutting you for this.
Every colour of the rainbow is a bit too extreme.
Yeah, but then you stand out, don't you? You're there. Look, you can talk. You're in plural today.
Yeah, but this is like, I'm making an effort.
Okay.
Would you rather be able to talk with animals or be able to speak every language?
Every language.
Would you rather always be 1 hour late or 1 hour early to everything?
Early.
Would you rather be covered neck to toe in tattoos or have one big face tattoo?
Neck to toe tattoo.
Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life or have to speak in riddles for the rest of your life?
Ooh. I like the riddles, actually.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh God. Would you rather have more time or more money?
Time, yes.
Time.
Would you rather be a freelancer or we call it here PAYE? I don't know what you have it there, but like basically
Employed.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah?
So definitely freelancer.
Freelancer.
And I'm sure everyone would love to follow your journey on socials. So where can we find you?
I think so. I've got a personal website, carlprinsloo.com. That's pretty much where everything is. So yeah, I think there.
There? Great, we'll link it in the show notes for you.
Thanks for listening to
Not the 9 to 5 podcast.
If you liked this episode, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, where we release weekly podcasts every Monday.
Comment below to let us know who you'd like to see next on our podcast.
Give this video a thumbs up and maybe share it with a freelance friend or two.
Until next week, everyone.
Keep freelancing!